Hi, it's John at C Nation, and you are tuned into the Kush Journals. Join me and my occasional guests each weekday as we discuss all things cannabis in the great state of Utah. Hi, it's John at C Nation, and you are tuned into the Kush Journals. This is an interview that we were able to capture at the Terpenes and Testing World Conference in San Jose last week. Josh Mezzer from A Pot for Pot joined us for a brief discussion about his product, and we think they're going to capture the home-based marketplace for hobbyist growers. Take a listen. Hey, it's John with C Nation, and I'm here with Josh Mezzer, who is, I'm going to call him the chief cook and bottle washer at A Pot for Pot, though that's really discounting his skill set there. This is a professional grower, for a fact. But I want to tell you about A Pot for Pot first. So we ran into their company on Monday at the Sea Invest that we were invited to. They were one of 16 companies presenting and competing for a $10,000 prize at the end of the day?
Yeah, $10,000.
Then maybe some Series A commitments or commitments for further investment. It would make sense that if a company, if accredited investors want like you enough to give you 10, then they're going to be around when you need more money. But this product, it caught our eye immediately because if you've listened to enough of our podcasts, you know that we think the home-based marketplace is the real deal. Whether it's suburban housewives and their lifestyle marketing, it doesn't matter. Everybody's on the B2B side of this. How much extract product can I sell to the companies that are growing 1 million plants? And we don't care. Their end results in the dispensaries, go buy some. But people love cannabis, and people will grow it at home if it's simple. Josh, tell us literally how simple this is going to be for anybody that buys A Pot for Pot.
Yeah, so, I think it's kind of ironic because one of the nicknames for the plant is weed. Yet we hear all the time that it's a really difficult plant to grow. And don't get me wrong, when you're growing at scale and you're trying to have a humongous crop have the same consistency and be pest-free, that's a challenge. But if you're just a home hobbyist and you want to go throw a plant outside in one of our pots, then, in 3 to 6 months' time, you're going to get yourself a home harvest.
So you're saying it'll grow like a weed?
Yeah, it'll grow exactly like a weed.
And is it just for outside?
No, you can grow it either inside or outside. Really input of the light will kind of help you get better results. And it's a really interesting plant to grow. It's a phenomenal plant. Not many people know that there's a male and there's a female version of the plant. And one of the remarkable things for us is actually juicing the leaves is an incredibly healthy thing to do.
Right.
It's packed with THCA, amino acids, and stuff like that. It makes wheatgrass look, pathetic in comparison.
Well, anything that's in your flowers and your fan leaves too. I mean, roughly that's true, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fan leaves are remarkable sources of nutrients.
I think people don't really realize that you can just deconstruct your cannabis plant and juice it, and it is very nutritious for sure. So rather than, you're not proposing 14-foot tall sativas that took 9 months to grow, right?
Yeah.
What's the process here?
So, with our kit, when you buy it, you'll get a coupon in there that enables you to redeem some seeds online. And we push the auto-flowering plant. And that's mainly for 2 reasons. It really makes the process a lot more simpler. Not to get too in-depth into it, but auto-flowering cannabis goes straight from seed into the flowering mode, as typical cannabis is photoperiod flowering, and that requires the light cycle to be in the fall time of the year, where it's 12 hours on and 12 hours off, and then the plant will begin to flower. So auto-flowering plants typically will go from seed, they'll finish 3 to 4 feet high. One of the other interesting things about them is as they were back-crossed with ruderellus, which is the Mexican hemp,
right.
They actually have high CBD. So they'll be 1 to 4% CBD, and they'll be under 20% and above 12% on the THC.
So while my plant is growing, 3 to 4 months, 3 to 4 feet tall. Can I just be stripping off fan leaves here and there and throwing in the blender with my smoothie? Or am I hurting the plant if I do that?
No, we actually, stripping off the fan leaves will actually encourage the buds to grow a little bit more because you'll expose more sunlight to them. So it's actually a practice that's
And are they
common.
taking energy? Are they taking nutrients? Are they taking things from the that really belong at the flower? So they should come off from time to time.
Yeah,
those big fan
they
leaves?
should come off from time to time, particularly as it gets later in the cycle. You're going to want to pull those fan leaves off so the plant consumes all of its sugars and everything in the roots.
Directs that to the flower. So when I buy a pot for pot, comes in a couple of different sizes. I'm literally, I mean, this is plug and play, right? This is unbox it and.
So you give instructions exactly how, like when to water it, stuff like that?
So what we do is we provide you with a grow guide. We try to simplify it as much as possible, and then we've got a Facebook group and we're online to provide support as well. It's entirely natural product. I can't say the word organic, but there is it's totally organic or natural. So we use the soil food web within the kit. So you just add water throughout the growth cycle. There's no complicated nutrients or amendments you've got to give to the pot.
Some perlite or something in there to hold the moisture.
So it comes with perlite, cocoa, that sits on top, and then on the bottom we've got sort of a very powerful soil mix.
For those of you wondering, that really is a professional grow mix of soil. For reals, the peat, the cocoa, the perlite, that is the real deal, for sure.
I just have to say, I've grown before and miserably failed, and I think this is a great idea. Great idea for people, because literally I didn't know anything about it.
Soil's really forgiving, and for whatever reason, I don't even want to say the industry, but I would say the culture has been driven towards hydro. And that's mainly because people are trying to push for yields and everything else, and that adds a whole lot of complexity to it. The truth is soil is very easy, and then you'll also get more flavorful buds. There's more terpene profiles and nutrients for them to access because the soil is just how you get organic fruit versus unorganic fruit.
You raise a good point about the hydro. Now, one of the reasons for the indoor hydro type grows is yield, but that's not necessarily just in terms of how much I can get off in one plant. That's also a typical indoor grow on a 12-month cycle can get 3 to 5 complete harvests. Because the grow time's short, because they're simulating the fall. They're turning on the lights and off the lights, and they're making these plants flower as though it's late fall. And so they can turn around plants they can get about 3 or 4 harvests a year.
For a production issue.
So an auto-flowering plant, though it may have less yield per plant per se, you're still going to get your 3 or 4 per year out of that, just like indoor, but all the benefits of the soil grow.
And then, of course, if you don't want to grow an auto-flowering plant in the kit, it's perfectly suited for regular flowering cannabis as well. We just encourage you not to grow them too large or grow them to the size of your appropriate pot.
Well, and that brings up a good point. I was going to ask, can these growers transition? I don't think that growing a regular plant versus an autoflower plant is that much different from each other. It's roughly the same thing. You just have to light dep a plant to get it to start flowering. Do you think if a person transitions away from that autoflower to to a non-autoflower, to a non-ruderellus strain, should they roughly have it in light dep? I mean, that 12 on, 12 off right out of the gate to kind of keep its size where they're used to?
Interestingly enough, you can actually take a regular flowering cannabis plant and straight from seed, just leave it on the 12-12 light cycle. And in that instance, it'll actually probably yield less than the auto-flowering plant because it's not getting the benefit of being able to absorb like 18 or 20 hours of light and still flower. So it kind of gets interesting actually when you look at if you try to compare yields. There's an argument you could make that would say that an auto-flowering plant might exceed a regular flowering plant if it was from seed, simply because it's getting more energy put into the plant.
That's interesting. So that phase is known as the vegetative, when you just leave them roughly in 24-hour light. They can't flower when they don't have any darkness. And so if someone's going to transition from autoflower, which really the autoflowers, they just control themselves. They're really going to grow.
Simple.
But if they transition away from autoflower to a more traditional type of cannabis seed, do you recommend a little bit of vegetative stage just to get it built up a little bit and then start with your light dep? Is that a 2 week? Is that a 2 month? Is it just
I think it depends whether you're going from seed or from clone. But you want to get the plant hardened off before you really get into the flowering stage.
So any gardeners out there know what hardening plants is to make them hardy for for a variety of reasons. Okay. Yeah. So a little bit of vegetative ahead of light depth really is very beneficial to a traditional plant. Well, how the heck are my listeners going to buy your product, Josh? Because it's fascinating. Buy it. Not even kidding.
Thank you. So they can go online to www.apot4pot.com. And we've got a launch sale going right now where it's 40% off. And please come and learn how to grow. And what we like to say is that you'll become much more popular with your friends.
Are you on any social media?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, which is a guide for growing pot. And then our Instagram handles are just at apot4pot and on the respective platform.
Awesome. Josh, thank you very much, man. Yeah. I'm not kidding. This is a killer product. Buy it today because you'll be ahead of the curve, because in a year your friends are going to be saying, hey, I was at the Home Depot today and I saw... Been there, done that, right? Thanks, Josh. Thanks very much, man. So we did a longer recap from the Terpenes and Testing World Conference, and this interview with Josh is included in that. The audio from his interview is unedited from this podcast to the other one, but there's a little more chit-chat involving their company and them and how we got to know them, and that can be heard on the longer Terpenes and Testing World Conference recap. For everyone at C Nation, this is C Nation John. Thanks and have a great day. Kush Journals is a copyrighted broadcast of the South American Gold Corporation. We appreciate your likes and shares on social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.